Hi everyone, as promised I'm going to show you how to make one of those little camping stoves. And what I have here is a can, an empty can of maple syrup. You could use a bean can. As you can see, I already started on this side. Now these are a little sharp, so when you're using something like this you want to be careful not to cut yourself, but it's very easy to do. You need an empty can and you need a pair of these. Now these are my husband's. They're nice and old, as you can tell. Let me just cut off this little piece because it just aggravates me. Okay, here we go. So basically you want to have some air vents. So you can just have air vents going all across, and it's very simple to do. You basically need to cut. There we go. Every so often we're going to cut here. We're going to do it on this side here. We're just going to cut it a bit. And again, we're going to give it a nice little cut. And then we want to peel it back. So once we've cut it, you kind of pull it back and you keep peeling it. So you take a little more and you peel it back. So how far you want to go is really up to you. I'm going to try and stay even to the first one I made. And what you're basically doing is making air vents. Because without air, you're not going to have much of a flame. Then you have to very carefully push this back in. So, and you make sure you don't cut yourself, guys, because this is sharp. Push it in and fold it back in. But remember, these ends are sharp. You do not want to overhandle that. You could try and file that down later on just to take some of the sharpness off, but they are sharp, so be careful. So we're going to make another one around here. Give it a cut. And I'm trying to make them all the same size. I'm pretty much eyeballing it. So basically they're a pair of flat nose pliers that has a cutting edge on it right there, you see. Now these are really old, so they're not the best. Doesn't have the best cut to it. So pull back, keep grabbing another little bit, pull back. So we pretty much have the same, more or less. Now you can either cut that off or do what I'm doing. I just push it in. There we go. And we're going to do another cut. Now you can leave it hanging off in the front if you want, but I like to tuck it in. Now I did something like this when we had the ice storm because we were really stuck in a situation back then. And I had those large tomato cans, those big large ones, and I used that, and I was able to put a nice big fat pan. Now if you're doing this, obviously your pan's not going to be as I mean, you still can put a big pan on it, but the heat is going to concentrate in the center of your pan. Trying to get that other piece in. There we go. And fold it in. Okay, so now you pretty much have your 4 little vents. Now you can actually use it the way it is. You can just simply pour alcohol in there and you're going to get a flame, and all you have to do is place a pan or a pot right on top. This will actually hold your pot without a problem. Or you could get a little grill. They sell little grills that are about that big, or you could even make your own. Place that on top and then place your pot. But there you go. You have a ready-made stove, oven, just by using a can. Now, if you want, you can open up a large window down here, make one big cut all the way down to here, up to there, and peel that off, cut it off, and maybe tuck in the edge so you don't cut yourself. And you're gonna have the rest is gonna still be intact, but you will make 1 or 2 vents on the side, and you will have your big opening. And then you could even put wood sticks, like little bits of branches, and instead of using alcohol, you could use little branches to make a fire. But you would need a big opening in the front. So if you're able to just cut a hole this way and then put your little air vents, you could do it that way. Or you could cut straight down up to here, straight down up to here, peel this big part off, and then maybe make 2 little air vents in the back, because you do need circulation to keep the fire going. But I'm going to show you that this actually works. Okay, so now if you have like one of these little tins, you could just simply drop it in, and you could put your alcohol in there. But really, you don't need it. If your can is just completely closed at the bottom and it has the vents on top, you could just drop your alcohol right in there. It doesn't have to be liquid alcohol. It could be gel alcohol. It really is up to you. This is gel alcohol that you could use, or you can use the liquid. Now, I color my liquid this way. It's easier for me to see where my liquid reaches, or when it comes up, especially if I'm using, let me put this aside, especially if I'm using one of these. When I'm pouring the alcohol in, I keep pouring till I see a pool of alcohol on top. And this way I know how long this little one burns, and I know that I'm going to have the right amount of time for cooking with the alcohol that's in it. Right now I have quite a bit in there. It doesn't look like much. It's about maybe an ounce and a little. And that will really burn a long time, believe it or not. But when it's an open container like this rather than a closed container, this one will last longer than an open container. But this stuff really is not expensive. We buy it by the gallon, and I'll show you what I buy. You could throw cotton balls if you want in there. If you have some cotton balls, you could put that in, and it just soaks up the liquid. And you could actually put extra, because the cotton soaks it up. I'll show you. Because we're putting this in, it's going to soak up that liquid, and then you could actually pour more alcohol, and you have more of a burning time, and your liquid doesn't come all the way up. You see how that soaks it up, and you could hardly see any liquid at the bottom. But those cotton balls are pretty soaked. But you don't have to put it. If you don't want to, you don't have to put the cotton balls in whatsoever. Depending on how long you're cooking, that's how much liquid you're gonna be putting in your can. Now, if you're using the open front and you have a little lip, you can still use just the alcohol in there. Make sure you don't pass over the liquid over the side of the wall here. Otherwise, it's going to pour out. If you have a complete opening on the side, just make sure you have at least an inch of base that's not cut through. So this way you can still put alcohol in there, or you could put wood chips, like I said, if you have that big opening in the front. If you're doing it this way, you could put alcohol as far up as you want, and then you'll have a flame for a long time. So it's really up to you how to do it. So I'm going to get my fire starter, and I'm going to show you. Actually, I have a match, make my life easy. Maybe a fire starter is better because I don't want to put my hand in there. Can I do it? There we go. I was talking this whole time without my camera being on. Duh. Okay, so here we go. I have my pot. I put a little bit of water for you to see. I'm not sure if you can see. I put a little bit of water. I'm using my rock pans. So right now I put a grill on my can, and the water is going to boil for me because there's enough air passage. I'm not sure if you can see with the pot being lifted up. My slits, my cuts are not as deep. I'm still able to use it to cook with, but I do need to put a little grill on top so there's that extra ventilation. If I would put that pot right over my can without that grill, it will snuff it out because my cuts aren't as deep. If you want to be able to use just a can because you don't have a grill, you got to make these cuts a little deeper down. You got to go further down, maybe cut your slits and pull it back until down to here. So maybe halfway down, so you have a good circulation. I prefer my slits a little shorter. It's about maybe a 1.25 inch deep. I prefer shorter because it has more of a sturdy top this way. But you do need to put a little grill. If you want to use it without the grill, like I said, take your slits and cut them all the way down here. Then you can use this without the grill. Or if you do that system that I told you where you make a big opening in the front, if you have that big opening where you cut it open all the way across like this, you want to leave a little space at the bottom where you could put some alcohol, and then cut this side down and remove that whole front. Then you can make little air vents on the top part, just small ones. But then you can put your pot right on the can because you will have this big opening that will feed oxygen to your flame. But if you're going to make small slits like I have to have a sturdy top, you will need a little grill on top. Again, it really is up to you how you cut your can and what system you want done. But this is a fast and easy way to make a stove without having to make these little beer can burners. You could actually put the alcohol right in, and as you can see, the water is starting to heat up with just by using a can and some alcohol. This is what I'm using. I buy these by the gallon because we use it very often, and it's methyl hydrate. And anything that has, this is like a gas line, to prevent gas line freezing. You can use that. There's anything that's got alcohol, it's gonna burn for you. So this is a very cheap way to use these alcohol burners, and it'll last you a long time. Or you can use the gel type. I'm gonna just pour some so you can see it. I'm just gonna pour some on top so you have an idea what this looks like. There you go. It's basically gel alcohol. You could get it that way. This is easier because you don't have any spillage, and it lights up. There you go. I'm not sure if you can see, but it already has a flame. But this is gel alcohol, so you can use that. You could actually use hand sanitizer. I've used hand sanitizer when we ran out of this stuff. So if you have any hand sanitizer, it's like a little gel bottle, you could actually use that to burn these alcohol stoves, and they work. Especially in a case of emergency, you have a ready-made burner if the power goes off, or if you don't want to spend all kinds of crazy money when you go camping or hiking. More hiking, because if you're going camping, you're able to make a large fire somewhere. But if you go hiking, they don't advise that you make large fires, only because only if you go to a campsite, like a lot of hiking trails, you have to make it to a campsite where you could actually make a large fire there, because they'll have a spot where you could do that. But if you're hiking and you want to eat something hot, these really are the way to go. You always have to be careful not to drop anything on the floor. But there you go. This is the gel type. If you're using the gel in one of these little burners, I advise you make a big hole so the gel goes in. Otherwise, it just sits on top of your can like this one did. And notice how they give it color. I always color mine. If you look at the gallon that I showed you, it's clear white. But I like to add a little bit of food color, so this way, like I put them in my smaller bottle. This is a fondue bottle I had, so I'm reusing this bottle. But I'll put my alcohol in there and I put a couple of drops of food color. So this way I see how much alcohol I still have in there. And it also helps me gauge when I'm pouring in one of these little containers, because it's so clear that sometimes you don't see and you overspill. And that's not something you want to do, is overspill this, because it will catch fire. Any fire is going to catch fire. So you have to be careful, guys. When you're doing this at home, be careful. Where you're burning it, make sure that it's not like that there's no cabinets ahead on top of you. Do not spill it because on your clothes, because it will catch. So you have to be careful, guys. But as you can see, my water is coming to a boil, and all I'm using is a little bit of alcohol and my maple syrup can that I opened up earlier. So very easy to make, guys. And you have an instant stove to cook with. Yeah, you could turn this also to a wood stove, just with that big opening that I told you earlier. If you have that big opening, you could put little wood chips, and it will actually make that wood burn a long time because it's confined in a can. But very easy. Make sure if you're doing this at home that you put it in something, because this will get hot, guys. So you want to have it on something that's not going to burn your counters. So there you go. I hope you like this video, guys. You guys have been asking now since I made that first one where I showed you how to make these little alcohol burners, and I kept saying, yes, I'm going to show you, but I somehow never got around to it. But there you go. Very easy and very simple to make. So guess what, guys? I'll see you very soon.
For more videos like this, make sure to subscribe to Connie's RAWsome Kitchen. Give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends.